This thing right here has taken me from the UK to northern Spain, and now we're in a high mountain pass, about to transit the Picos de Europa via 4x4. What the hell, man? Like, I cannot tell you what it feels like to be driving through these places on my own, in my freaking Land Cruiser that I built with my own two hands. My camping pod, my home on the back, everything that I need to live inside of it. I'm gearing up to attempt to cross a fabled high mountain pass, choked with snow, all but impossible to transit during winter, and the only way to transit these mountains via 4x4. Safe to say, the stakes are high. If I succeed in this endeavour, I'll be the first person to have transited the Picos this season. So the only question is, will I make it? So this is where nobody's passed. Nobody's passed through here this season. We're going to be the first if we manage it. These snow drifts are super deep. This is true 4x4 adventure. This is the Iberian Trail, a new multi-part overland film series that follows a world-first attempt to circumnavigate the Iberian Peninsula off-road using only 4x4 tracks and trails. Could it really be possible to circumnavigate a landmass of this magnitude off-road, and in Europe of all places? A continent often characterised as lacking in adventure, built up and heavily populated? Or would my idea prove to be impossible and have me driving home to England having failed, with my grand ideas having come to nothing? I knew that I wouldn't be able to rest until I'd given it my best shot. Armed with hundreds of old maps, GPX files and satellite images, I painstakingly traced thousands of miles of unpaved tracks and trails to put together an epic route that would take me through some of the continent's most remote places. What I was left with was a tortuously winding pathway through some of the most diverse terrain imaginable. From towering mountains to vast deserts and plains, this route has it all, alongside the extreme four-wheel drive to match. I'll push through tight forest trails, waist-deep mud, high mountain passes full of snow, and every other type of four-wheel drive imaginable. Tackling this trail alone, I'll live out of my DIY Land Cruiser camper, living on the road for months as I attempt this expedition. This vehicle is more than 30 years old, and thanks to the extreme terrain that I'm putting it through on the daily, it's not letting me off lightly. I'm conducting all the maintenance and repairs as I go on the road, with a basic kit of tools that I can carry in the back of the cruiser for a fully self-sufficient off-grid overland expedition. This trip started off with a single big idea: an off-road circumnavigation of the Iberian Peninsula. Will it succeed? I have absolutely no idea, but I'm strapped in until we find out. If you're ready to accompany me on the Iberian Trail, hit that subscribe button and we'll tackle this wild multi-month overland expedition together. I'm preparing to attempt to transit a legendary four-wheel drive pass that cuts directly through the middle of the Picos de Europa mountain range and marks the boundary between the states of Cantabria and Asturias, serving as my gateway to the wild western reaches of the Iberian Peninsula. With the truly wild, semi-autonomous state of Galicia on the horizon, home to the legendary city of Santiago de Compostela, the end point of the Camino de Santiago, and a region known to the Romans as Finisterra, literally the end of the world in Latin. The most untamed landscapes and rugged terrain of this expedition so far lay just up ahead. But here in northern Spain, it's the middle of winter. The Picos de Europa mountains are frozen over, clad with ice and snow, and the mountain pass that I'm trying to use to transit these mountains is ordinarily choked with snow and impassable until the summer. This year, however, things are a little different. There's been record low levels of snow here in the Picos, and there's an upcoming window of clear and dry weather in which locals tell me a four-wheel drive passage of the mountain range might be possible. My Iberian Trail Expedition has a singular goal, a circumnavigation of the Iberian Peninsula using only 4x4 tracks and off-road routes. If I'm able to transit this legendary four-wheel drive pass, I'll hold the title of being the first person this season to open this trail, the idea of which has captured my imagination. On the other side of the coin, if I fail to transit the Picos using this pass, I'll have to backtrack on myself some 400 kilometers and drive around the Picos using a paved route, adding time to my journey and making it impossible to claim a full circumnavigation of the peninsula off-road. I approached the pass from the east, stopping briefly in a small mountain town to load up on food and water, before striking out, gaining altitude on a dirt road ascent towards the pass, about to lay eyes for the first time on what for me had become an obsession in recent weeks. But I'd arrived late to tackle this pass today, and with a vehicle plagued with mechanical problems, after weeks of punishment off-road. Not only that, but I'd missed a vital good weather window, and now black clouds coalesced on the horizon. An ominous warning in a high altitude area. I knew that my crossing could not be safely done today, but nevertheless I wanted to lay my eyes on this legendary place ahead of time to be better prepared for my passage when conditions did allow. And it was here, at 2,500 meters above sea level, I finally caught the first glimpse of my fabled mountain pass. My singular focus and goal for so long that it had an almost mythical quality in my mind. I was here at last, finally put in place to name. A truly wild land, forged of stone, snow and ice. Oh my God. God, dude. Okay, so it's pretty deep, the snow here. Jesus. I can't believe I'm here. Look at this place. So, man, it's so dicey as to whether it's passable or not. Like, this is passable right now. When I get higher and higher, don't know if it's gonna be or not. And certainly the weather is not conducive to getting through right now. I'm not going to attempt it now, as much as I'm really tempted to. It's just so gorgeous. What a trip, man. This thing right here is taking me from the UK to northern Spain, and now we're in a high mountain pass about to transit the Picos de Europa via 4x4. What the hell, man? Oh God. I think what I'm gonna do is reverse out of here, go back down to Espinama. From there, I'll try to find somewhere to camp, I think. And with that, I backed out of the spectacular high mountain world, shrouded in fog and full of mystery, to begin my descent back down into the valley, to await more favourable conditions in which to attempt this passage. Alright, I'm heading back down the mountain for now, but we're going to be back. We're going to be back when the weather's better and hopefully the pass is slightly clearer. And we're going to make a passage of Picos de Europa. I feel a bit melancholy leaving this place. Because, like, I know I'm coming back, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Like, this is the, like, agony of decision on this, on these trails. The snow was relatively benign there, and there's a chance I could have passed it. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Sunset's about 6:30. Would have had an hour and a half to do it in. I don't think it's enough time. The conditions aren't really right, but I could possibly have done it. Now I'm going to wait 3, 4, 5 days for another weather window. We don't know what that's going to have brought. You know, it might have brought a dump of snow, which makes it totally impassable for the next weeks. So, like, you know, I know I'm coming back here, but there's always the question in my mind. It's like, should I have just done it? And now I'm driving back down the mountain. God, regardless, this is unbelievable. Okay, so I'm back down in Espinama right now. I've decided I'm going to go back to Potes. It's 20 kilometers away, about a half an hour, 40-minute drive. But there are more amenities there. I found a little Airbnb rather than a hostel, which is going to be ideal for the next few days. It's all working out pretty well, I think, because the weather window is going to be starting on Thursday. It's now Sunday. I have to work in the middle of the week anyway, so I would have had to have stopped anyway in the middle of the week. So, like, I'm kind of fine to post up in Potes for a few days, wait for my weather window, do some work online, and then come back when it's a beautiful day and we can do this crossing properly, you know. I pulled down into the picturesque little mountain town of Potes in search of the place that I've booked to see out the bad weather and wait for my next opportunity to cross the Picos off-road. Okay, I am now in Potes. I've got this little hostel, like, kitchenette room thing. It's pretty okay, pretty Spartan, you know, it's reasonable. I'm here for the next 4 days while we wait for this weather window to open up. And so now I'm gonna go and explore Potes in the Picos de Europa. This is really cool. Let's go. Potes is an ancient town, founded in the 8th century, with a long and colourful history as an important market and tax town, located close to the strategic crossing of the Picos de Europa. I set out into the evening to explore it, in search of something to eat and a decent beer. I found myself in the only bar left open in Potes. I've got myself a plate of cecina. They have, like, it's a plate of meat, some bread, and a carne and beer. It's so nice. Alright, I'm on my third beer now. It's Estrella Galicia. I'm having a good time after being in total, like, hermit style recluse mode for the last few weeks. It's pretty nice to be around people, it turns out. I think I could have drunk a fancy beers in this one. Alright, beer number 4 in this incredibly loud sports pub. Right, I think I drank 7 beers there. Can't be sure, but that was my count. So now I'm walking back to my hospedaje place, which is about 1.5 miles up the road. Honestly, I feel pretty good about this right now. This has been like the first time that I've been in a town properly on this entire trip, you know. I feel like my experience was a bloody good one. Local bar, ate a fucking massive amounts of cecina, bread, 7 beers, 8 beers. Who's counting among friends, right? Okay, nearing the place. Viaje apartamentos. This actually looks a lot more homely than it did earlier on today. That's probably because of the 7 beers. That's what I would recommend that you put in the notes of this conversation. I spent the next few days exploring the famous food scene of the town, getting some work done online and eating hearty plates as the storms raged on in the mountains just above. I enjoyed my forced downtime in Potes. After having spent so long in the wild, a brief stop in some form of civilization felt good, and I enjoyed my week exploring the ancient cobbled streets and stone archways. The days ticked by, and we got closer to the weekend, with the promise of that good weather window which I was going to use to transit the Picos. That meant I needed to do some long overdue repairs on the Land Cruiser, to make sure I was as prepared as I could be for a testing four-wheel drive crossing. Alright, so I'm preparing to leave my hostel place in Potes to do this crossing over the next couple of days, and the good news is that I've had some contact from a local 4x4 company, 4x4 group, and there's a guy who wants to come and do the crossing with me, which is absolutely brilliant. It gives me a whole lot more confidence to actually do this. So yeah, we're going to try to attempt it on the weekend and see how far we get, basically. But having even just one more 4x4 gives me so much more confidence. So yeah, we're going to do some repairs on the cruiser today ahead of departure tomorrow. So today is gonna be the handbrake assembly again. Plot twist, it didn't work with the whole plastic clippy thing. So yeah, I'm gonna take that off and just remove the assembly, and so that will prevent any problem being able to happen. And I'm also gonna fix my compressor system, because that's absolutely vital to be able to continue. So yeah, a bit of a day on my hands here, but we'll get it done before nightfall, hopefully. Okay, so we're going to break the nuts here now and whip the wheel off. With the wheel off, I set to work pulling the caliper so that I'd be able to gain access to the brake disc, pull that, and see what was going on with the handbrake assembly inside. Alright, so let's see what's in here. Let's take the disc off. And yeah, that's totally failed, you can see. Yeah, you can see why that's happened. Vibrated out of there, you can see. So it was worth a try to retain some kind of a handbrake and not have to pull it all apart, but as it is, we're gonna have to pull it apart, which is fine. It's not the worst thing in the world. It just means that I'm not gonna have a handbrake until I can get a delivery from Euro 4x4 parts, and that's fine. And that is a quick way to take all this shit off. Okay, that's one shoe. Put that on the side. Alright, so I've entirely stripped that handbrake assembly out now, so that means there's nothing in there left to cause me any problems. So it will mean that I have to rebuild the whole thing when I get the part, but for now it means that I'm going to have no further problems on the road, which is the objective of today. Yep. With the handbrake assembly all stripped out, I put the caliper and disc back on, after which the rear wheel could go back on too, bringing a pretty definitive end to my continued problems with the handbrake on this side for now. The previous week, my air compressor system had completely failed, with some unknown electrical gremlin causing the 30 amp fuse to repeatedly blow, something that I quickly realised I was not going to be able to fix on the trail. This was going to require a full rebuild of the electrical side of the system. Alright, so I'm not going to switch out. This is the one for the compressor. So we're going to do some line tracing. The cables run right now. I know that they go under the floor here and down to the compressor behind the passenger chair. But what I'm not exactly clear on is when or from where the power cable goes to the engine bay currently, because I need to strip all that cable out to attach to the leisure battery system. Yeah, I'm going to pretty much have to get everything out of here, pull the carpets up, and totally rewire this thing. It's going to be a bit more of a pain than I would have liked right now, but such is life. Okay, so this is my leisure battery bank under here and all the associated kind of wiring and articles. I've got bus bars and fuse boards on here and all such as that. Under here is my compressor system. This runs on a solenoid that this basically tells the compressor to kick in when my air tank underneath gets below a certain PSI. I can't remember exactly. And this is all kind of joining on to make that all run. So I've now cut the earth off this solenoid because the compressor earths into there. And I've cut the positive off as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to simply hold the positive on the positive of the battery and the negative on the negative as well. And that will tell us whether it's the compressor that's knackered or whether it's something in the wiring loom. So a bit of a moment of truth here. Okay, positive on. Negative one. Oh, you fucker, that was hot. Jesus H. Christ. That's good though, because it means that the problem is in the wiring loom and not the compressor. So that's great news, actually. It means that I can extend these wires and I'll probably run it through my fuse box on the wall of the box here, this guy. I think I have one spare fuse here, so I'll run it to here, 30 amp fuse in here, and just run the earth to the bus bar earth here. So this is something that I was gonna do anyway, honestly. It's just that I hadn't because of time, and so this has forced me to do it, and this is going to be a much more robust system and a much better way of doing it as well, because having it ran off one battery, which I had it on before in the engine bay, is like a really bad way of doing it for various different reasons, but we won't go into that right now. But this means I can get a compressor back for the passage that I'm going to do tomorrow, so let's do it. Alright, so that's the compressor back up and running, which is good. Yeah, this is the situation here. I've got my switch all wired back into my air point, and these are now fully operational as well. And so we're going to fill up the tyres now in advance of us leaving tomorrow morning. Alright, so I've just left Potes, where I was posted up for a few days, and I've now just driven up to Fuente, which is just below Espinama, from where I'm going to try to do the passage through the Picos tomorrow. So just look how spectacular this is. We're at about 1,200 meters above sea level at the minute, and that's the Picos de Europa in the background. It's just a wall of rock. Look at that. It's like unbelievably tall mountains. I plan to attempt my passage of the Picos de Europa off-road the following day. The current plan was to meet up with a friend of Jorge from North Off-Roaders, who you might remember rescued me from a mountainside in the first few days of my expedition. We were planning to meet the following day in the town of Espinama, from where we'd attempt the four-wheel drive passage. That meant that today was relatively free, and so I was looking for a place to spend the night. I'd seen an official camping area on my map, and I was now heading towards it to see if I could spend the night there. I guess this is the gate for camping, yeah, so that's the camping down there. It's all barred and shuttered for the winter, which is a shame. It really is. And sleeping in cars, I believe, is not legal in the national parks, where it is in the rest of the country. So, yeah, it's a bit of a bugger that these places are closed, because, yeah, I mean, I guess they're all closed for winter, and that's fair enough, but, like, it doesn't give you many options. I mean, probably what I'll end up doing is just staying here in the car tonight, you know, under the assumption that nobody's going to come by. And if they do, it's like, well, come on. I mean, your camping is literally closed. But yeah, it's just unbelievably spectacular here. yeah, it might well be that I just kind of take it easy here for the day, honestly, and kind of gauge it, because this is an absolutely spectacular spot. It really is. What do we do? I guess I could just pull up the car into this bit here and kind of just take it easy for the day. In the shadow of the colossal Picos de Europa, I started to get myself set up for what was promising to be one of the most spectacular campsites of the trip so far. This place is like one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. The mountains are just like breathtakingly spectacular. Like, even by the standards of the Andes, these mountains are like something else, man. Like, I don't know if you can get the scale of that, but like, that's just a wall of rock right there that must be 1,000 meters high from where I am right now, which, by the way, is above 1,000 meters. So you're looking at like a kilometer of rock right there. A kilometer of vertical rock. That is pretty amazing. Oh my god. Oh, it's moments like this I get overwhelmed a bit, like at the beauty of it. You know, after the brutality of that rebuild, I just keep thinking about it and like thinking about how like horrendous that time in my life was, and how hard I've worked to actually get to a position where I can do this. Oh god, I'm just so happy to be here. It really does feel like what I'm supposed to be doing, you know, like, and I think that's a rare feeling in life, honestly, like to get that feeling where you're like, yeah, this is, I feel like I'm doing something here. I feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose almost. Like, that's pretty cool, eh? So I'm probably gonna like pop the roof, get the chair out, just kind of chill, admire the view, edit a bunch of videos, all that kind of thing, and I'll just see, you know, in terms of, because I'm like obviously blocking like the camping like entrance, but I don't think anybody's going to be here for the next couple of months. So like I'm gonna gauge it throughout the day, and if there's nobody come down, I'm gonna probably just sleep here tonight in the car, and then tomorrow we'll do this passage. But yeah, I'm gonna chill today. This is really, really good. So yeah, I've been here about 25 minutes now and nobody's come by. It's just like absolutely deserted. So I'm gonna set up my camp here right now. And if anyone does come by, I'll just be like, yeah, well, I just kind of stopped to make dinner or whatever. I feel like, I don't know, it's an odd feeling, almost like guilty for stopping in the middle of the day. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's because I've been like on the road so like voraciously since I started. I'm like, don't I have somewhere to be? And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm just like literally just chilling here until tomorrow when I'm gonna meet Chus to go do this pass. So yeah, I'm gonna chill and just have a really nice afternoon. Oh, God, this is so good, mate. I'm having such a really, really nice day, honestly. Look at this. Just chilling here, car in the background all set up. These are the moments that I overland for. I whiled away a magic afternoon, camped up in the shadow of the mighty Picos de Europa, in a day that I knew there and then would go down as one of the best on this trip. Right, so basically what's happened is I was just chilling here for the afternoon, and this dude came along with his dog. It's called Carlos, and we ended up chatting and just having a really, really good time. We kind of drank a load of beers, and so now I've drank a load of beers. It's sunset. I'm gonna cook some kind of stew. He's going to take his dogs back, bring some more beers back, and we're gonna just basically drink a load of beers and eat some stew. And so yeah, this is a hell of an introduction to the Picos de Europa. The people are just the best you could ever hope for. I'm having an amazing time on the side of a freaking mountain here. About to just have a really nice evening cooking and drinking with this dude. This is what it's all about, man. This right here is what it's all about. Alright, good morning. I was really bad at filming last night, and me and Carlos, the guy that kind of stumbled upon my camp, got into the beers last night, made some nice food, and yeah, just drank a lot of beers really. So I'm kind of like feeling it today, to be honest. Just slightly hungover, so on a bit of a go slow. But today is the day of the crossing, so I really need to like book my ideas up, get some coffee, some breakfast in me, and get ready to go meet Jules, the friend of North Off-Roaders, so that we can go do this crossing. Wow, sunrise over there. God, it's so beautiful. Alright, so I'm gonna get some breakfast now. I'll probably take a shower, kind of freshen myself up a bit, and yeah, get ready for this crossing. I'm really excited. I turned the cruiser over and left the engine running for 10 minutes to generate some hot water. Being able to take a hot shower anywhere is one of my favourite features about this build, and it's transformative to the way of life, making it possible to be off-grid for weeks at a time if I want to be. Oh, I've got to say, that was a cold one today. Oh my god. Alright, so I made this breakfast using Asturian beans. These are, I've never had these before, but they were recommended to me by a local. They're like beans with bits of sausage in, and a bit of pork belly, I think, as well. So yeah, it looks like a damn good breakfast to me, that. Alright, so we're just pulling out of the campsite. That was the best campsite of the trip so far, without a doubt. That was so sick. I'm in a bit of a rush because I'm kind of running late to meet Jules, the friend of the North Off-Roaders guys. And so yeah, I'm kind of hurrying up. I'm supposed to be there right now. Classic me. Look at this, man. That is incredible. I met Chus in his Montero in a plaza in the tiny town of Espinama. And with little more than the flashing of headlights and a couple of excited hand signals, we wasted no time in pulling out of the town and heading up towards the pass. Alright guys, this is it. We're doing it. We're freaking doing it. It's here. Look at this. So this is Chus, my new friend. So this is it. This is the moment that I'm gonna attempt this crossing, this passage. We've been talking to local people, and the locals seem to think it's probably passable because there's been way less snow than there usually is at this time of the year. So it's gonna be probably quite difficult, but I think we're gonna be able to do it. If we're able to do it, I think that we're gonna be the first ones to pass through this season. Let's go open up this trail. Chus and I ascended into the mountains, heading ever upwards towards the high altitude pass. The landscapes became more spectacular and dramatic the higher we climbed. Mate, just look at this. Absolute spire of rock. My God, dude. At the gateway to the pass, we pulled the vehicles over to air down, take in the drama of the landscape, and discuss a game plan for our imminent attempt at the passage. Que vista! Okay, so we just aired down and we are now about to attempt the crossing. Let's do this, mate! Oh my god! What the hell? Okay, dropping down into 4. Wow. Okay, this is the first patch of snow. Okay, here we are in the valley, so we're about to attempt this thing right now. Let's do it, mate. Chus and I edged the vehicles forward in convoy into the pass. Oh my god, brother. Tell you what, it's a lot clearer than when I came up the other day. Like the other day, this was full of snow, and right now it's melted. So I think we've got a really good chance of getting through here, honestly. This is so exciting. We pushed the vehicles through deep snowdrifts, the remnants of the masses of snow that had choked this pass when I'd been up here just a few days ago. This is a whole lot clearer than when I came up the other day. The other day, you remember, it was like full of snow, and now it's clear the snow is melting. And so, yeah, I think there's a damn good chance that we might be able to get through here. Honestly, this is crazy easy. I thought this was going to be choked up with snow, and it's just all melted, so yeah, I think this is going to be a relatively simple crossing. But as soon as that sentence came out of my mouth, in classic famous last words style, the pass took a sharp upward turn, and the terrain became immediately more dramatic and much more extreme. Wow, okay, here we go. This was the first complete snowdrift to lay across the entire trail that we'd come across so far. Yeah. The vehicles had made short work of it, and we were soon on the other side. Through that drift, we'd followed the tyre tracks of another vehicle that had gone before us. Knowing what we knew, that no one had managed to cross this passage yet this season, hinted to me that there was something more in store for us up ahead. If another vehicle had gotten at least this far, what could it be over this horizon that had caused them to turn back? Oh my god, this is so cool, dude. This is unbelievable. We're so high, we're at almost 2,000 meters right now. The cars are just bossing it, ripping it up through here. That big snowdrift kind of just plowed through. Woo-hoo! We climbed ever higher up the pass, and with every meter we ascended, the more inhospitable the terrain became. Okay, this is where it's gonna get interesting. Right, so no one's passed through here. Holy shit, brother. I watched on as Chus ploughed into the first virgin snow of the passage so far. No tyre tracks in the snow ahead meant that no one had passed by here in months. I decided to back up a little to give Chus the space he needed to do what he needed to do. Holy shit, yeah. Chus was carving a new path through the snowdrift ahead, and I was playing a delicate game of how far and how fast I should go to maintain just enough momentum so as not to get stuck, while also not getting too close to the Montero and inhibiting Chus's maneuvers. Okay, so this is where nobody's passed. Nobody's passed through here this season. We're gonna be the first if we manage it. These snowdrifts are super deep. Oh my god, this is true 4x4 adventure. Chus and I inched forwards through the drifts bit by bit. I'd let him plough ahead, and when I saw that he was going to make it through a particularly deep drift, I'd quickly cover the ground to catch up with him, following the tyre tracks that he was carving through the virgin snow. Oh my god. ¿Qué te piensas, mío? Eso es como 4x4, ¿no? Ay. necesites ayuda con...
Perdón, sí.
Sí,
¿Cómo está ahí adelante?
sí. Se ve como bien después de eso. Creo que no hay gente pasa eso como en esta temporada. Somos los primeros. ¡Qué vista, amigo! Wow. Chus's Montero was stuck fast, buried in meter-deep snow. And as I looked ahead, I could tell that we were only just getting started with tackling this wild mountain domain, the only way to transit the Picos de Europa via four-wheel drive. Oh, that's cold. As I pulled up behind the vehicle to help Chus recover the Montero, it was clear we were going to have a wild ride on our hands if we were to make it through and open up this mountain pass for the season. But we hadn't come here, to the highest point you can drive in the Picos, to take half measures. And as we packed out our recovery gear and tools, we were locked in, ready to take on one of the most difficult and exhilarating days of four-wheel driving in our lives. This is true 4x4 adventure.